Hello and welcome back to the Mayor's Update with the Mayor, Joe Preston. Joe, how you doing today?
I can't be better than this. Summer carries on late into August. I'm quite pleased. If it could carry on late into December, I'd be even more. This has been a glorious summer for those that like it really hot. All right, it's been,
I know,
um,
eh?
and I know even the farmers they're getting good intermittent rain, some $1 million rains out there, and as long as they're all getting it, these heat units really help them. But boy, I don't mind a summer like this. I I know I complained all winter about how cold it was, so we'll take this. This is and look, you're out on your deck in the sunshine. I'm um, not.
I am loving this weather. I couldn't help it. I was like, you know what? I'm coming out. I'm just going to be on the deck. We've got
Right.
the cars going by in the background, adding a little ambiance.
Honking the horn or anything. Wait, okay, if you're going by Graydon's house, honk your horn, please.
That would be amazing. It's live. Yeah, you could totally do that. This is Ron McNeil here out in Southold.
Yeah. So everybody go by and honk, then we'll get it on Mayor's Update. Okay? But before that, answer your questions. Austin,
Mhm.
how are you today?
Tony Bendel, hello. How are you doing? Welcome to
Good.
the show.
Tony watches a lot, but I think he lurks in the background. But thanks, Tony, for joining us tonight. It's the late August version of Mayor's Update. I guess we have one more, right? The 31st will
Yep.
be a Wednesday, won't it? So we've got one more yet in this month. But Faye, how are you today? And it's quite funny, Greg. You and I were talking about some of the stats on Mayor's Update, right? And
Hmm.
how we've got a lot of people who watch it live,
Yep.
and a good handful or better of people who comment and come in and ask us questions. So we've got a lot of people who tune in every week just to
Mhm.
watch the show and listen for the questions. So those of you that are thinking of asking questions, please do so, because it really helps hundreds of people beyond. If you have the question, other people have it too. So we've got some neat things that have happened in St. Thomas over the last couple of weeks, and some great events coming up. Um,
Yeah.
Next couple of weeks are going to talk about today, but we'd love to spend time answering your questions. Last week we
Mhm.
did we had the police chief, or
Yep.
sorry, the fire chief,
Fire chief.
Dave Gregory on, and we ended about half an hour in with David Gregory, and then we had a lot of questions. We had a great response last week and lots of questions about things going on in St. Thomas. So if you've got any questions about current events, open forum here in St. Thomas, we really want you to have it. And we're going to ask you right now too, if you can, share Mayor's Update.
Mhm.
So once we're done today and you find it again on Facebook, hit the share button with your friends and other friends so that we can really share this with as many people as we can. I was wondering who Sarah was
No,
too.
it's a
Uh,
it's a Facebook glitch. It's from when I was talking to Sarah Coleman or about the how to save money on food in St. Thomas. And so I put in there, I pinned a comment on the top in Facebook saying, let us know if Sarah has any questions, because I did it a little bit differently. I did it directly through Facebook, and
right.
Facebook has glitched out. And so every time we go on Facebook Live now, it adds that as a pinned comment on the top. I'm trying to sort it out with Facebook tech people. One day it'll sort it out. But yeah, for the past 5 episodes or 4 episodes, we've been asking Sarah
Right.
or asking people for questions for Sarah. So anyway, it'll get sorted out
Okay,
eventually. I'm
so
deleting
we'll
that
get
comment off
Sarah
the
out
top.
of there. Apologies to Sarah. Sarah, we love you. Don't know who you are, but we'll take questions for Joe or for Graydon now, including Sarah. So anything comes in for Sarah, we'll answer as if she's on Mayor's Update. I thought she was a new admin. Hadn't met yet. No, we
No,
got,
this is. I'm
yeah.
never doing the Facebook Live like that again, just for the record.
All right.
But yeah,
All right.
you try new things. But
Perfect.
It's Sarah Coleman. So Counting on Change with Sarah Coleman. It was from that show,
I was from
which
that show. Yes.
yes.
The
So that was when we
yeah.
were showing people how to save money, and
Right.
it's been a great show. People loved it. So if you haven't seen it, go to the videos tab on Facebook and Established Media, and you can learn how to save hundreds of dollars on your groceries in St. Thomas. Anyway,
Right. So
we've got a question.
already. I guess we better get to them, or we'll be on longer than we want to be tonight.
Mhm.
Beth Douglas is asking us. She started watching us because she's interested in the upcoming election,
Perfect.
as she lives downtown and wants to see some improvements. Don't
Hmm.
we all? We're all
Yep.
working as hard as we possibly can. We've this council in the past 4 years has created the shelter that didn't exist at the start of this council and made it a year-round shelter from a only in the winter shelter to a 24-hour day shelter, then doubled the size of it and moved it into where the inn is now. We recognize we've got a bit of growing pains in that neighborhood, and we want to make sure that the inn starts doing a lot better job of policing outside of the shelter. But to understand that a number of the people using our downtown from a homeless point of view won't go to the shelter. We've been trying to make sure all will, and those that won't, we continue to build supportive housing. Beth, we've opened the Rail City lofts above the transit building, 16 units of supportive housing, and at the Queen Street site, 45 more under construction for supportive housing for, if you will, those that are going from homelessness through the shelter into supportive housing. So the downtown, we recognize we just a couple of years ago started these projects, this council of housing projects for those in the need downtown. We also have been pushing very hard for the provincial government from a mental health addictions point of view for detox and rehab, and we're feeling very comfortable we're moving that way. We thank Ginny and Don at the Annex and at Grace Cafe for also starting the advice part on detox and rehab. We'll continue, like most communities right now. We have some mental health and addictions issues, and we as a council are moving as fast as we can on all of those. And I'll certainly take any follow-up questions. I'm so concerned that many storefronts are vacant in the West End. It's if I can share with you from 4 years ago, we have more full stores in our downtown than we did 4 years ago. We with 2 years of COVID in the middle of that. Is there more to do? Yes. We have some landlords that aren't doing a very good job of fixing up some of those storefronts so someone will visit it. The way you rent a storefront is not just put a for lease sign in it. You actually make the area, the inside the building prominent and very nice too. We have a CIP plan, a community improvement plan, to help landlords of buildings downtown not only renovate their storefronts and make them better, but also the apartments above, up to $5,000 per apartment created above. So you can drag a horse to water, but you can't make it drink is somewhat what we're up against with some of the landlords. And so by putting our money where our mouth is, they opened the social service building on the west end of downtown and brought a number of employees and some nice apartments above it down the west end, and we'll continue to concentrate on that also. The other one I saw was, hey Joe, on the Victor Gasket property. I think that's the one behind Memorial Arena along that section of Elm and Wilson. And as you can see, there's somebody there working on some environmental testing of the brownfields that are there. It will include probably the Victor Gasket factory too, if we can get that builder to want to build on that site. Last week in Ottawa at the Association for Municipalities of Ontario, myself and Councillor Clark and Councillor Herbert met with people from the Ministry of the Environment on brownfields. For those that don't know, like me, that are just new to St. Thomas 32 years ago, that area used to be heavily industrialized from the railway use. There was a, roundhouse there and some other things on some of that land. And it is quite contaminated. And we're working on helping the company that wants to do some building on that property find a way to cure the brownfield. And so we're asking the provincial government to help us with that too. And it looks like it's going great. So that's so Austin just asked what's going behind the Tim Hortons at Elman Wilson. The old C&O building has been torn down. Finally, it sat empty for 20 some years. About time it was taken down. I think Austin is more that someone is more likely to buy that property if the building is down and it's prepared, ready to go. and the city of St. Thomas would be happy to work with someone who wants to build another business there beside the Tim Hortons. What's Tony saying here? Talk a couple years ago about removing the Fairview. Yes, the overpasses. We talked with Justin about that at council 2 councils ago, and although I think it's in our works plan, as you all know, you can go on our website and look up our works plan, what roads will be done in what year and how soon. I think Fairview is set for 2026, but I think there's a thought that we'll move it earlier. The overpass is kind of in the way of the intersection of Fairview and Talbot, but not to the point of a couple of $1 million of removing an overpass that no longer has trains running underneath it. At some point, we will have to remove it, but we're really watching the structural integrity of that overpass. And, sometimes you got to ask yourself, it would look a lot better if it was all level with the ground and we're back down to not having the overpass, but at a couple $1 million worth of demolition, we want to make sure there's a need to do so. And the road project above it or below it needs to be done. So we want it to happen too. We would like it not to be there. And it's not as easy as you think, just taking a bulldozer and shoveling that overpass. There's a lot of dirt in an overpass building up to a bridge over top of railway plants. So maybe I should be more specific about the fires and crime rate in the southwest part of the city. Southwest. So Harvest Run? No, that's southeast. Southwest. Yeah. Well, you're absolutely right. That's the area we're talking about, the Elman and Wilson and Sunset area. And we know that if we can get that developed into usable housing, we would certainly prevent anything else. I think the fire at the D&O shop on Wilson, that arsonist was arrested, and I think usually once this happens, our police, we're going to talk about some other stuff about our police today too, but once our police make some of these arrests, it permanently stops that person from being in the system. They've not been released. They've gone for some assessment and will likely be found guilty of this arson. So as much as that we've complained about catch and release, I'm not sure that will happen with this person. So if we've removed an arsonist from the system, if we have innocent till proven guilty, all of that neat stuff, there will be a lot less fires. Some of the fires certainly are set by homeless people who are camping rather than in our shelter. And we surely need, and we have a full team, mental health team, and the most team with the police out, of course, still trying to convince all to please come to the shelter. We're not at capacity. We have room to sleep everybody tonight that wants to sleep in St. Thomas through all the different housing projects we're working on. We need to make sure that stays that way over the winter, but we'll put emergency plans in place if we have to. But somebody sleeping in the rough starts a fire, and we watch for where people are camping and move the most team and our bylaw officers in place to remove people who are camping on what is public property and ask them, would you please go to the shelter? So we'll continue to do that. So
I think that's a really good point. And I know I've seen in the news on other cities where encampments have gotten set up and people have propane tanks and that kind of stuff. It becomes a health and safety issue.
Absolutely.
Because if a fire breaks out and it gets into a propane tank and that blows up, then you lose lives.
Right.
So it's really important.
We've been lucky that's not been the case, even in any of the fires. But we need you. Use our customer service like we all do. We've talked about a number of times on here, whether it's customer service at stthomas.ca, and leave your message. Hey, there's a campground here, or there's this needs to be cleaned up here. Please let us know. I'm spending a great deal of time now checking those to make sure that customer service requests that have come in from the citizens are actually being dealt with in a timely manner. And I use it myself now. Instead of just going to the director, I will use customer service at stthomas.ca, and and fill it in and say, hey, I just saw this. Could somebody tell me what's happening with it and how can we do it?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
We've got a comment in from Emily Parsons Johnson. It's great
Yes.
police work shutting down the theft operations on Princess.
Yes.
Could you give a shout out to the bike registration suggested by St. Thomas Police to help recovery and reuniting bikes with owners?
Yes, and I see Wesley's replied to her too. Wesley Shaw is one of my friends, but also watches the show a lot and does a lot in this community from a volunteer point of view.
Totally.
The people of St. Thomas who have done the work of registering their bikes, and I know Wesley's bike was stolen from near the Elgin Center not that long ago. Wesley, I saw today you got your bike back as part of this raid. Way to go! And Emily, thank you for sharing. Look, and register your bike. It's not hard to put it on the police system's website, so that when they do make a large bust like they did this week, and we'll talk about it a little bit more. The people whose property it is gets it back. Otherwise, it's a kind of go and pick through things and identify. That's one of the ones you can do pretty clearly is register your bike. So,
absolutely. Hi, Margaret. She just signed in. Welcome to the show. And then one from Tony Bendel. Joe, for the people that would like to run for council but have no experience, what advice can you give a newbie to the municipal politics?
I certainly give personal advice to anybody in this last 6 months. Have probably talked to 6 or 8 people who wanted to run for council about what the job meant, and that you're really one of 9 voices, and how much time it takes, and what the level of accomplishments can be. So sometimes just go to another councillor, go to the mayor, and say, I'm thinking of doing this. If there's somebody there who won't give you advice or have a chance to talk with you, then maybe you can remember that in the next election. But we all do our best to share some diversity and equality on our council. So I've been giving a lot, and there's a neat book about running for council that the Association of Municipalities in Ontario put out that I have made a number of copies of. So for any of you who are running in this election, I think I've spoken to almost all, or at least offered my support to almost all. But if there is not, please give the mayor a call. I'm happy to share with you what you think you're getting into. Sometimes doesn't match what you are getting into, and we want a strong council as we just had. It was we had a lot of
incredible council
4 years in a cooperative way. So we really want that to happen too. So.
So Adam Montgomery's got another one. He says, so with the plan to level the overpass on Fairview Road, I assume the tracks will be removed as well. Will that section where the tracks are be residential or commercial, where the tracks are by Fries R Us / Brywood? Or are there any other plans for that?
I don't think there's any tracks on the south side of Talbot now. I believe all the tracks have been removed from that section. There's a railway corridor that used to go through there that has been purchased privately, and some of it is being redeveloped as we speak. I think at the last council meeting we talked about 1022 Talbot, which is almost right beside the Dulux paint store on that piece of Talbot, and the tracks run behind it, becoming a medical center and a very large medical center. So that piece along Talbot is being redeveloped pretty quickly. And you're right, Adam. If we take the overpass out of there, there will be more developable land along that piece of Talbot between First Ave and Fairview. So especially on the south side of Talbot Street. But I think right now it's still there is tracks to the north of Talbot, but I'm not sure there's tracks to the south. But I'll check that to make sure whether all the tracks are out to the south. But I think they are. Right? So.
And then Wesley Shaw says, thanks guys. 3 things on getting bikes, if new or not. Take 3 different angles of your bike, like 3 different photos.
Pictures,
add something. Yep. Add something to your bike, like a sticker or something, just in case the serial number is taken off. Some of my friends, they inscribe the inside of some of the tubes with a number. Yep. And then, or initials or anything like that. And then he says, add your bike to the bike app, which is project529.com/garage.
Perfect. And
thank you, Wesley.
All 3 of those things. Look, I'm on the police services board, and we come up with a fair amount of charitable dollars by selling off bikes that are not claimed. And it doesn't make sense to me if someone had their bike stolen that they're not coming back to claim it. But the police hold on to it for as long as they can, and then one of the local auction companies auctions off some of these things, and we use that money charitably in our community. But I really would love everybody who has something taken from them that is theirs, getting it back. So yes, identify it. And I know Wesley's pretty good at that. And I was really disappointed when Wesley's bike was stolen, by somebody with another description on the police thing today was somebody with a grinder, a power grinder, cordless power cutting locks off bikes. Well, let's catch this guy, folks. This stuff doesn't all happen, and I know Wesley had some pretty good video out back of where he worked on it, and a lot can. But let's use the other videos in town, and certainly what occurred on Princess Ave yesterday and the day before with our police really solved a lot of stolen property crimes, and we really, and that's very close to downtown. We know a lot of the effort from the 4 gentlemen arrested at that site were crimes happening in the core of our city that we all don't want to happen, but often are blaming on other people, whether it's people with addictions or homeless. This was a major group of criminals who stole a lot of things, and we got it all back yesterday. Our police and all of the departments in town did a super job of making that happen. I know there'll be some will say, yes, but we knew weeks ahead of time you should do it. Yes, but the police also have to build their case to be able to do it, know the people who are living there, and make sure that the arrest will stick after the fact. So a lot done yesterday. Really, really pleased.
Absolutely. Okay, so what else is happening in the city?
Well, that was the one big thing from this week so far. We continue to work with housing and mental health and a number of things, but the police were had on their radar for a long time the house at the corner of Princess and I guess it's Center Street, I guess, in that neighborhood anyway, and very large bust there yesterday. A lot of stolen property found, bicycles, tools, and many of the usual things you would think, but guns and
Guns as well?
and some drugs. I think there was a gun. I better make sure I don't say it was guns, but weapons off the street, criminals off the street, and a lot of stuff being returned. So I'm pretty pleased with that.
All right. Tony's got another question. He says,
Right.
Hey, guys, I wondered for years, Joe, as being on the police board, why does St. Thomas Police not have auxiliary members? I would think in today's world, this could save much needed money where officers can pair up and not have to send multiple cars to one call to back each other up. And he talks about starting an auxiliary program. Would be awesome for St. Thomas to have it.
Great comment, Tony. Starting right now, it may even be hitting the street today.
Yeah.
Is we have a new special constable program, which is truly what you're talking about, an auxiliary police officer, not the same powers as a police officer, but all the powers they need to patrol the downtown, to move people to where they need to be, to help people go to the shelter, to do crime prevention. Also, we have now video cameras the full length of Talbot Street. These people will be using that to assist. And Tony, we also had, just before COVID, a very vibrant COPS program, Citizens on Patrol program, which also allowed us to have citizens out at night, both in the van and walking our city streets, from a prevention point of view. And what a great thing to do. And I see now that we're back out of COVID, that circumstance will also, I think the COPS program will now come back to life, but very proud of Chief Harridge. I believe I would just say stole. That's a bad term. We borrowed the program of auxiliary officers or special constables from another community in Ontario, and now 4 women are starting that job this week or early next to be at least 2 shifts a day, so morning and afternoon or afternoon and evening in our downtown, ensuring people are safe. So we're doing it, and we want to do more of it, right?
Absolutely.
And
it's a fantastic program.
I hope to see cops back really soon. And if it's a fundraising effort needed, we'll help with that too. We'll make it work. So.
Yep. And if you want more of a rundown on that, just watch the previous episode we did with Chief Harridge, where he talked about that program, which was a month or two ago. Just go back in our videos through the mayor's update. You can pull it up.
Right. We have the archives of all of the mayor's updates. And so we know what we said, and everyone will know what the mayor said for the last 4 years to use or to thank him in this next election.
Is that what they do with it? Is that?
So, I mean, I guess that's one of the next big things going on. We are into an election campaign. As of last Friday, nominations closed, so we know who are replying to who are running in each of the council positions and each of the mayor positions in St. Thomas. So we all have till October 24th is the final election day. But here in St. Thomas, because we're going to phone voting or online voting, you'll get to vote from the comfort of your lazy boy if you want. We need you to right now, at where you live, go to voter.ca. It's a website that's there, and verify that you're on the voters list. The sooner you can do that, the better off this whole process will work. Ensure you're on the voters list. If you're not, there's steps there you can take, because if you are, you will be sent a personal pin for you to use your phone or your computer to vote in this next election. Getting closer to October 24th. I think that we'll cover a lot more of that procedure in upcoming mayor's updates. But the one you need to follow right now, go to voter.ca and ensure you are a voter. And even if you voted in the last provincial election, just verify you still are. This website changes a bit, so let's make sure everybody who wants to vote in the next election, regardless of who it's for, go to voter.ca, please. And that's the first step on this much easier system of not having to line up to vote. We're going to let you do that too if you want, but more on that on a future show.
Now, it doesn't look like voter.ca is working here.
Okay.
So I'm not sure. Is it like Elections Ontario, or would it be another place? I'm just looking.
Oh, I'm going to the...
Just so we get this right here. I'm getting like a 401.ca website building.
The city website, and that's what's up there. Wesley's put the city website up, right? And go to the block that says municipal elections. Then it explains to you in there what to do.
And I just popped it up there so everyone can see that comment.
Right. So this is our test this week. It's really early in the campaign, so if we have troubles with it, we can get the clerk on it and make this work. But I did not go back because I had just verified that worked for me to make me a voter in my new house, right?
Voterlookup.ca.
Voterlookup.ca. I was missing the lookup. Okay. Voterlookup.ca, and then you'll have to enter your name and your address, and it will tell you whether that's a real place in St. Thomas and you're a voter.
Mm-hmm. Perfect.
Right.
And if you're not, what do you do? If you're not listed?
If you're not on there, there will be a "you're not listed," and I sent them an inquiry on the website while you're on there and say it doesn't. I moved into this new apartment building and it wasn't yet listed as an address in St. Thomas, so that it now is. They made sure that happened, and we're on. So perfect. And
Margaret, I just posted the link as the host.
Yeah.
So you can click on that link in the comments. And then you can make sure you're registered on there.
Right.
All right. Let's catch up on our...
Hey, Joe, why should we vote you, and what do you feel some of the best things you've done as a mayor over the past few years? Well, certainly I already covered, the housing piece that this council, and I can't take credit for anything individually on legislation passed. It's a 9-person council that makes things happen in St. Thomas. So the rebuilding of the shelter to double its capacity, bringing Indwell into town to bring up supportive housing are the two things I'm most proud of. But even before that, I promised that we would get transit in this community, be 7 days a week and after 6:30 at night till the evening. Promise made, promise kept on each of those things, and we'll continue to do it. But Adam, I think one of the skills that I bring to the job that is critical is connections. I know people in the provincial government, I know people in the federal government. And last week, we and myself and two other councillors were at the AMO conference, basically lobbying ministers of the provincial government to get things we need for our community. And I think that's one of my strengths is I have people I can call and say, St. Thomas needs your help. How do we get it? Look, last night, Graydon, can I tell the story about last night? I was over in London at a really neat event.
Let's do it.
Boeing Canada. You've all heard of Boeing aircrafts, but we're over there talking in London regionally. Myself, Mayor Holder, Mayor Matheson from Stratford, the president of Fanshawe, the people from University of Western Ontario. Boeing came to us and said, hey, we think we'd like to do business in Southern Ontario. Can you all get together? We did. We said, we showed them how well we all worked together in Southern Ontario, and Boeing is interviewing a number of industries yesterday and today and tomorrow to become Boeing suppliers. But also, we opened the door for a relationship with Boeing in the future, even from manufacturing. So, love to those types of events with my and that's the cooperation and fun, Adam. To really answer your question, knowing the mayors of the communities around us working well in a region and making it work well, and working together with the 8 other members of our council to make stuff come to our community. Look, we're growing. We've got to bring jobs and housing and all we can to this community. And I'm proud that in this 4 years, we're able to do that in spades. St. Thomas continues to grow smartly. Right?
I would second that. And I would also say, in terms of the people that are experiencing homelessness and addictions in St. Thomas, we have gone above and beyond what other communities have done as well. And I know, as everybody does, that things are not easy right now, but I can't even imagine what it would be like if the mayor and council that we currently hadn't done what they had done to support those people throughout this time. Like, we have a 24-hour shelter now. Like, if we didn't have that, there would be serious consequences for the people in our community. So personally,
April 15th, 2019, my first April as the mayor, and the shelter closed because the shelter we had only ran in the winter. Well, that night happened to be really quite cold, -10 if I remember right, and that was the night we told everybody at the shelter, sorry, we're closed for the year, right? Not our shelter, a great group of people running in out of the cold, but that was what they were at the time. And so the expansions we've done, making shelter year-round, twice as many spots, on the capacity to handle mental health and addictions right inside.
Indwell supportive services.
All of those things. So look, there'll be lots of time to talk about all this during election. Are we done? Absolutely not. There's so much more to do with a growing community like St. Thomas. I want the chance to show how much St. Thomas can shine in this world as a growing community, growing at 1,000 people a year. The jobs for those 1,000 people and some of the plans we've already made on purchasing some new land from an industrial point of view, the housing for those people. We've got the best home builders in the world carrying on building their homes, and now many market rent apartment buildings going up because many people, like your mayor, has decided, I no longer want to cut grass or shovel snow, so I want to live in an apartment. So we need to do that. We had to go knock on doors to get some of these people to come to St. Thomas and start building. So we'll continue, carry on, and we'll keep doing that. I'm proud of what we got accomplished. I'm not bold enough to think we're done. We're not. This council has much more work to do on our own strategic plan, and we want the chance to carry on doing it the next 4 years at least. With watching St. Thomas grow from where we have to now 45,000 or thereabouts, and in the next 5 years to 50,000. And St. Thomas. Look, I had someone ask me the other day, why are you touting the growth of St. Thomas? Why don't you just stop it? And I asked the question, well, how? What would I do? How would you stop people who want to come to live in St. Thomas from actually coming here? I don't have a way to do it. I can't build a wall. I mean, St. Thomas.
Nor would you want to
come here. And I keep meeting people who have moved here 2, 3, 4 years ago and saying, this is the best decision I've ever made. I'm here now. And thank you for growing the city the way this council has. Great.
And if you
doing it, if we sat here and didn't plan for the growth, we'd have far more serious problems. I met a number of community partners at AMO last week who are now at the start of the plan for dealing with homelessness, start of the plan for dealing for mental health, right? And we're already well along that path, and we'll continue to be ahead of them. So what else have we got? Lots of other stuff up here.
Yeah, we got a great shout out from Tony Bendel.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, Tony doesn't give himself enough credit. The things Tony has done in this community, from making me look good on Rogers when he used to volunteer over there, and then all the work that he's done at the Royal Canadian Legion here in St. Thomas over the last, I don't know, I want to say decade, Tony. Way to go. And all the things that Tony, what a community supporter. He wears St. Thomas on his sleeve all the time. He is great. So thank you for saying that, Tony.
We got to say the fire extinguisher program that he runs to get
that's another one.
Them into the cars. Like, that's incredible in terms of fire prevention and safety.
Absolutely. So look, I wish Tony was running. I'd help him. And Tony, I hope your mom's doing better. I read last week a couple of posts from you, and I haven't seen anything since. So I hope that she is doing better too. What other questions have we got? This is great. I love nights where we have lots of questions, because
I love the interactivity. Yeah.
Person who's asking a question, there's another 10 or 20 out there who would have asked it too. So I really want as much as we can to do this open forum and talk about what's going on in St. Thomas. But while we're waiting for a couple of other questions, Graydon, what events we've got coming up?
We have the Middle River Music Festival, which is happening out. It's in Elgin County. It's not St. Thomas, but there's a lot of St. Thomas people that are connected to it. And it's just out that away. You can't really see it. South.
Yes.
And if you've ever gone to Common Ground Farm for your vegetables, which we do, then you've been to the same place it's going to be held. So check out the Middle River Music Festival. It's happening on the 27th of August. That's this weekend. Yes. And they've got a fantastic lineup of performers, and they're going to have a great night. I think it goes till about 9:30, so it's not too late. Go out, enjoy yourself, have a good time. There's going to be amazing food. That's the main one that I'm thinking of.
Well, let me recap last weekend, for those of you that didn't get out to walk around Pinafore Park and see the Railway City Arts and Music Festival. And what an aptly named event, because it was just so much art and different levels of arts and music. The community stage with people playing in a more intimate session, and the band shell for bigger bands, and then what a car show. What a number of beautiful looking cars. And I was wandering around in the sun on Saturday trying to look at these cars. What a beautiful park we have. Graydon, if I had I had 50 people come up to me and say, we should use Pinafore Park more like this. Well, that's exactly what we've been trying to do, is to get Pinafore Park to be our event place in town. You can get to it. There's parking.
Yep.
As a band shell, it has the dance pavilion where other music could take place. I was in one of the other pavilions. It was called the Artisan Pavilion, and met a number of artists. A beautiful lady from, I believe, Tibetan art, and beautiful artwork. And then, as I said, a whole field full of the most beautiful cars you'd ever want to see. And I didn't do it all. It was
Mhm.
hot. I stopped and bought my Tupperware from the Tupperware lady, but I did as much as I could do. It was a
Yeah.
hot day, and really talking to as many people from St. Thomas as were out there, saying what a great place. I can only guess what their numbers were. Way to go, Railway City Arts and Music Festival, and we
Mhm.
have the Harvest Festival coming up
Yep.
later in September. A similar type event, but it's same venue, but a fall celebration of the harvest time in our area, and
Mhm.
great music. Also, I've seen their music lineup. I've seen they're having a whole trivia. Graydon, you and I, same team. We got to figure
I
this
know,
out.
right?
All right. But you play off Friday night, and then it's a play down for Saturday night, and then Sunday are the finals. So you got to be smart all weekend. Okay. That's
Hmm. Well, I got to say too, like for St. Thomas, one of the things for music festivals that we don't do well is we don't buy our tickets in advance. And so if you're doing a music festival or you're promoting it, if the people buy the tickets in advance, then the promoters and the organizers can do more because they know they have the budget to do it. So if I could
right.
say anything to people of St. Thomas, I would say if you like the idea of this festival and you want to support it, buy your ticket like a couple months to a month in advance, and then they'll have the budget to do really cool stuff and bring in really cool performers. So that's
Yes.
that's it's going to be a great festival.
Right.
I really hope it continues on and it's more than a 1 year festival. So
I
please,
agree, and I
yeah,
agree with you. Help out these festivals. Two things have to happen. One, if you can buy in advance, that helps them really give you a great festival this year. And I recognize the Midway kind of stood up the
yeah,
Railway City Festival, no fault of theirs, and probably no fault of the Midway company, except they promised they would be there and they couldn't. They didn't have the
mm,
staffing to do it. I understand, but each of these festivals have to put away a little bit of money to start the next year's festival. We can have great festivals in our community if you help them through this year so that next year they've got some seed funding and getting started. Here I was thinking no questions were coming in, and I wasn't scrolling, so I'm gonna try and answer a couple. But please don't forget about the great things happening in our
mm.
community. Um,
So we've got one from Tony Bendel. And we've
right.
talked about this before. He's saying, Joe, can you tell us in regards to all the empty rundown buildings on the west end of Talbot, can council or does council have any powers in making these derelict owners liable?
Well, not only powers to make them liable, they've been cited for. I mean, there's some collapsing walls and such on the one building just east of Grand Central. But I met
Hmm.
the new owners of the property. They understand it's under a building order to get fixed because the bricks are falling. Right, my whole time in this community, some 32 years, that building's been empty. I mean, it's the old municipal world building, and it has not been occupied. We finally have a builder who really wants to do something on that site. Heritage
Hmm.
Committee has said yes, the building can come down. So there now has been a demolition permit issued for that building, but there's some security. We have to be sure um, the other buildings attached to it are engineered and secured properly in order to take that building down in the middle and build what will be a beautiful piece of housing. I think 6 stories in the back
Hmm.
for affordable housing or housing with some affordability. I have to be careful when I call things affordable these days, but
Right.
um, and I see the vision. I see that we're heading that way. The old Tony Huddle's building, right, is
Hmm.
had some boarding put up, and then nothing happened to it. Well, we went and checked again, and now I see a scaffolding up front. We're starting to see some work on it too. Certainly, as I mentioned earlier in the show, that some of our downtown buildings are filling in. We're starting to have a less of a vacancy rate in downtown, and that will, of course, entice other builders to want to fix up their storefronts and the apartments above it. But you're right, Tony. That one has bothered me. My since I was the downtown development chair, not the mayor. So a number of years ago, because somewhere in the middle of that, I did 12 years in Parliament. Right, has always been an eyesore and ready to be replaced. Let's get it done. So, however, Private owners of buildings also get to take their time and do the engineering right. As I think this city learned with the Sutherland Press building, we don't rush into somebody's private building, and we try to help all we can, and our planning department is doing that too. Right, so we'll keep that one out there.
We got a question from Margaret McKnight. But a lot of people have mentioned about growth taking over farmland. Another thing we've talked a little bit about previously. And then a follow-up was like, where are we getting our food imported? Not impressive. And again, that goes to people. We need to get the message out that people need to support local farmers. Because if we're not going to the farmers, like Common Ground, where the Middle River Music Festival is being held, then they can't grow the food to supply it locally. And yes, you're going to pay more for those. And like I'm speaking from personal experience, my parents also had a CSA and were growing food locally. Had amazing support, but that needs to grow so that this farmland is kept for that.
And we talk about our own market and local farmers supplying at our market, and local markets like Brywood and some others like it that do a fantastic job of bringing in local products. You're absolutely right, Margaret. It's a shame to ever have to take farmland to grow, right? And we don't really want to do much. We'll try our best to do as little of that as possible for housing. We've got a lot of areas in St. Thomas that we could still build. The railway lands downtown, that stretch we talked about at Elman Wilson. But we have to be able to get help from the provincial government because this is an old industrial city that had things built. We have to be able to clean that soil up, the brownfields up, in order to put housing there and high density housing there. And we have to have a community that accepts high density housing. Tall apartment buildings, for the most part, is what I'm talking about, so that we can house more people in the core of our city near where the amenities are for them to get groceries, go to the bank, take transit, and the rest. And we need to continue to do that. If we do that, the only need for new land in St. Thomas is for industrial, for jobs. And we will need to have jobs for the people moving to St. Thomas. So we'll need to do some of that. We'll do our best, right?
We've got a shout out for the market from Beth Douglas. And absolutely, that's a great, it's not just a place where farmers can come. It's an incubator for young farmers to bring their produce and sell it as well. So if you're not familiar with that, like sometimes you start a plot, you build a market slowly. And by market, I mean like an economic base to grow your business. And you can do that at the Horton market, which is fantastic.
Right.
All right.
Okay, actually, I'm just scrolling through to make sure we haven't missed any. Yeah, somebody mentioned the Pride event, both the Pride flag raising downtown and the Pride event at Pinafore Park 2 weekends ago. Again, a lot of people out. So we know that the use of Pinafore Park for some of these events is a great thing to use. We think it's the best venue we have. I personally, and just picking a number out of the air, would love to have at least 10 events a year at Pinafore Park. In the summer, to a month, and 2 or 3 others on the shoulder months. It would be the right thing to do. And boy, people visiting from out of town, I talked to a number of classic car owners. This is like the best place. Look how beautiful this is. And if I wanted to, I could have run through the splash pad, but I forgot to bring it. So,
all right, we're going to go to Adam Montgomery. Is a question about the Arts and Music Festival. They could collect donations for the next year. It could be used for games, entertainment the next year, maybe some rides or bouncy castles for the kids next year. I know a lot of people were disappointed. Some of the rides didn't make it.
Well, I get it, but certainly not the organizer's fault. But also, volunteers are getting harder and harder to come by, and so all of you that want these things to happen, please give a couple of minutes. It was funny because I walked into the community stage area at the Railway City Arts and Music Festival, and walked up to an area where you can get adult beverages. And I said, well, how's it going? What's happening? She said, I don't know. I just volunteered for today, and I really am not part of the organization. But I thanked her. I almost hugged her, and I said, thank you. Without you, these festivals can happen. We need people to also come out and spend a couple hours working some of these festivals, whether it's directing cars or parking or working the beer garden or any of the above. It just makes sense, right?
Yeah.
It's fun to do. I've spent my whole time in community being involved in community, and I mean, I can point at Tony, right? But those are the things that make you have a better festival next year and a better festival next year. It's not, these are community festivals and they can't just be bought, even with good sponsorships. I know a couple of local businesses, including one that I'm very close to, help sponsor some of this stuff, and we do our best to do that too, right? But you can't just go out and buy a volunteer, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have to have a fun festival where there's lots of volunteers, so everybody gets to not work as hard, right? Yeah, Tony's mentioning as a former board member of the Fantasy of Lights. Why did it go away, Tony? I'll answer it for you. Because we just ran out of volunteer help. The volunteers aged to a point where we just said, I can't spend that much time sitting in a cold park. We need to have a more fun event and a way of doing it. Tony, thank you for your years doing it, but that's what happens. We just need you all to help volunteer and help donate to some of these projects too.
Yep. I want to give a shout out in terms of events. I was a part of the Big Brother Big Sister golf tournament, which was happened to be sponsored by Wendy's. So thank you, Joe, for doing that. You're not going to say it, so I'm going to say it. You know, Joe sponsored this event, which was an amazing event for raising money for Big Brothers and Big Sisters. And that was on last Thursday at the St. Thomas Golf and Country Club. And so, yep, fantastic.
Well, Adam asked the question, was it advertised? Yep. And Regan, you and I had spent some of this afternoon talking about this. Where do you advertise? We try to give everybody as much promotion as we can on Mayor's Update, but there's just less places today where someone can say, hey, I need volunteers. But I know for the Railway City Music Festival and for the upcoming Harvest Fest, each have been pushing on social media. Can you come help? Can you be a volunteer? Can you be, part of it? So please, if you can, do so. Right?
And Deb has a comment. She says, what is happening with the subdivision on Parish Street? Work seems to have stopped again.
I do not know, Deb. There's been quite a few smaller builders this year that are having difficulty getting the right teams at the right time. And that may be the case here, but I'm making it up. So I will have to check tomorrow with planning as to why that project is not speeding along, because we need all of the housing we can possibly build in our community. So.
And Tony says volunteers are the heartbeat. So hard to get new members, and absolutely.
All right.
Yeah. Margaret Knight says Ross Walls passed away, Joe.
Okay. I saw that post, and I'm sorry to hear that. Again, another long-term person in our community. So thank you, Margaret, for letting me know.
And Tony's letting me know that all the years he's known Joe, this man has a huge heart for this community, from federal government to mayor. We are lucky to have a guy that loves his community the way he does. And absolutely. Yeah.
Well, but I'll correct Tony just a little bit. I became involved in this community when I first came here and with my business. And I remember one of the, whether it was with the United Way or the Downtown Development Board, I did a lot of community work. And that was the reason I got into politics. People said, well, you're really well known. And I said, but I'm really having a good time with the community work. And so I don't think one comes before the other. I'm not a politician because I love my community. I loved my community, and that's why I'm a politician. I was told I better run. So thank you, Tony, for the kind words.
Yeah, but I've only got to know Joe really over the past 4 years of doing this show. When I talked to him, I was like, hey, Joe, I'd like to do the show. And he was like, yeah, absolutely. And then we've just run this open community forum for the past 4 years. And what kills me, though, is that people don't know. People still... They're like, really? It's live? Like, we can ask anything we want? We're like, yeah.
Yes, you can. Or you can sit in the background and watch, or you can watch it again anytime later this week. The show reruns itself. You can't ask more questions then. But if you do, we'll answer them the following week. As I said, I was just up at Amo. I have a number of friends who are politicians in other cities in this country who said, you do a live show every week and people can ask whatever they want. Isn't that a little hard? Yeah, it is. It's exactly what politicians of every shape should do. Um, this is about transparency, folks. I'm not trying to blow smoke up here. I mean, this is what we do. I think we need to tell you what we do for a living and why we did it. And if someone wants to ask a question, yes, I'll do it in political speak, as somebody said on the weekend on one of my favorite St. Thomas Facebook sites. But we're giving you open opportunity and open transparency. Graydon, you mentioned about the 4 years, and we started doing this, and it was a great thing we were, because by the time we get to COVID, 2 years after I became mayor, we needed a vehicle like Mayor's Update, where we went daily then, right? It was on almost every day to share the messages of the day, because there wasn't a place for people to get that. Everybody's trapped in their homes basically, and so we could do Mayor's Update and share it. This has become far more of a, what is City Council doing? Who's doing a good job? Who voted for what? Why are we spending the money to build supportive housing, and when is this road going to be done? And so we talk a lot about it on here, and it's a great vehicle to have.
Yep. And Adam Montgomery is saying, I wish I could get these live talks at all levels, provincial and federal as well. And you know what, Adam? I do too. Yeah. I think that would be invaluable.
Yeah. Well, and as you know, here on Mayor's Update, we've had both the provincial member of parliament and the federal member of parliament on this show. So we can at least, we promise you, we'll try and get them more often if they won't do a show of their own. I recognize both of them work someplace else, not just St. Thomas, and they represent an area much greater than St. Thomas, but we'll try and get them to be on here so you can ask them questions too. And I remember the night we had Rob Flack on, we were broadcasting from Caps Off, and we got lots of good questions for Rob that night, right? Everybody loves Karen, so yeah.
I know, and Karen is so good. I mean, I'm like biased, right? We're both from Sparta, so but she also does a great job, so that makes me proud, it's great.
And I agree. We will let them know that people are asking for them to have their own MPP update and MP update, and maybe they can alternate, just do it together, right?
That would be fantastic.
How much spare time do you have? I understand just between midnight and 6 you're sleeping still, so you
I've got lots of time.
Yeah, okay.
yeah, no. All right, but we should probably wrap this up.
All right.
I've got to get back to the editing room.
There's one other piece that came out this week, and I want to let you know that we're on it, and that is redistribution. There's a new map came out from the Federal Redistribution Commission about reshaping the ridings in our neighborhood. And I got to tell you what a piece of crap it is. And I don't say this lightly, because I was the chairman of the committee that did this last time. And they have broken up communities of interest in every riding I've seen on here. This is truly a way of it doesn't need to be this bad. Southern Ontario did not add a seat. So why don't we start with what we already had from an EDA point of view, and see if we need what we need to tweak in order to make some of the numbers work better. I'll let you know that myself and a number of other, including, of course, our member of parliament and our member of provincial parliament, are working very hard to make sure this doesn't happen. This doesn't go through, and we'll continue to keep you posted and tell you how you can participate in saying, don't do that, right?
Yeah, it's a bit crazy. Looks a bit crazy, to be honest.
Right.
But
what else came through here?
Beth Douglas is sneaking one in here at the end here. Is there any thoughts for St. Thomas Police to have a small police office in the West End so the locals here can meet and know their police staff as a drop-in?
Okay. No, probably. We will be placing a police office in the core someplace. It may very well be in the West End with the new auxiliary constables I talked about, right? Catherine McNeil still walks the beat every day in St. Thomas. Let's be nice. How can I say this nicely? I don't want the police officer sitting in an office so we can go meet them. they walk the streets. Go up and introduce yourself and say hi and let them know your concerns and let you know and say thank you to them too, because they work exceptionally hard. We need that relationship with our police. We now have that new team on the street. We've always had Catherine and other beat officers on the street. So let's continue to push that prominence, how good we're doing at patrolling, and that will help with crime. But a great deal of prevention of crime and inclusion of safety in our community is all of us. All of us. If you see something, report it. If you see something you're not even sure, report it, because we can go to the CCTV cameras and see if it really was a crime and what else happened. So please help us with our. It's not only the downtown; it's all of the community. I've seen one of our, the local community libraries had the doors ripped off. The little neighborhood. Well, first of all, who would do that? But second, you mean a whole neighborhood didn't see it happen or doesn't know who did it? Let's see what we can do about fixing crime in our community too.
And Deb's got a comment here and a question as well. She says, I agree with you on that regarding the reshaping. How do we give input to say no? And I believe there's a community meeting that's set. Do you have that on that paper there?
Yeah, it does. I don't have it here in front of me. I'm meeting again right after this weekend with Karen and Rob again about what the next steps are. And trust me, if you haven't heard by next Wednesday, we'll talk about it in a mayor's update to really say how you can be involved, what meetings, and what the steps of people in the community are. This has St. Thomas no longer in Elgin County. This drawing, if you haven't seen it. There's a new riding called South London and St. Thomas. And when I was over to London last night, talking to Mayor Holder and some of his councillors, they said, oh, so St. Thomas is becoming a bedroom community. I said, no, London's always been a bedroom community for St. Thomas. But we would want the riding called just St. Thomas. And so even they see the absurdity to doing it the way they have. And I won't get into all the things that I think are wrong with it, because it's a first draft and I think we can get it corrected. So let's do it, right?
Yeah, but Adam's saying
for your talk and support, and we've got a long election campaign going on, so we're not doing much campaigning. We're out there being mayor still, so we're going to keep doing that and so we'll keep doing mayor's update and sharing with you what's happening in our community and how we think we're making a difference and where we could use some community help to make a bigger difference. So Graydon, I was so thankful to fall into Graydon when we first started doing this, because it's not easy to message St. Thomas right now. I mean, our daily newspaper is completely different. The radio station isn't as informative as a talk show would be. So we're trying to find other ways to get this type of news out to you, and we want you all to please share Mayor's Update so that others see that they can come on Wednesday at 6:30 and watch it live, or not, right? Or watch it later on in the week. We bump it a couple times through the week. I always find it and then share it again so that it goes back out. So pardon me if you say, what's he doing? I've already seen this. Not everybody has, trust me. So we really want to get as many people to see it as possible.
Absolutely. So Adam, please share it out if you can. Tell other people to share it and come on. I mean, it's just a matter of getting people to do it. But yeah, it takes time, which is why we've been doing it continually for the past 4 years, which is a bit crazy to think. Oh, thanks, Beth. She says she sets her alarm so she doesn't miss it.
Well, I like that. Let's set. I'll put that out as a comment. Please set your alarm for 6:30 Wednesday Eastern Standard Time to join Mayor's Update Live. And we didn't do a trivia tonight, Graydon.
We didn't. I've got some questions, but I was like, we can save them for the next one.
Okay. Well, we'll double prizes before the end of August still. Right?
Yep. So that'll be the big one for next week, I guess.
For next week, we better get 4 names in so that we can then draw a winner. You can put it through your magic machine. So,
Well, thank you, Beth. That's amazing. She dashed home tonight to watch our show, so that's much
Yeah.
appreciated. And I didn't want to interrupt all the questions because we had such a great dialogue this evening, and really, that's what this is about. This is
2 weeks in a row where we've had lots of great questions that we're able to get the answers. The only one I think I haven't answered is an exact date on the overpass, right, and the parish construction part. Why is it slowed down? So I'll either enter it in the comments here if I can get that answer from our planning department tomorrow, or I will answer it next week on Mayor's Update.
perfect. Well, Mayor Joe, thanks again for your time this evening, as each week.
Thank you all.
Yep. Thanks to our viewers. And we'll catch you on the flip side, folks.
All right. See y'all. Bye.
Stay out of trouble.
Can't find the leave button.